Marathon's dead. Bungie's in the trash. Sony getting absolutely eviscerated online. I would say that this is a prime example of you reap what you sow type of situation. Boys, pat yourselves on the back because the shit goes into the toilet and we just as gamers proved it. In any case, hilarious things are happening with Marathon. As we all know, Marathon is a failure. It has currently a whopping 95 plus minus 3% roughly player loss ratio, probably plus, because no one's going to be left playing Marathon very, very soon. And now they are doing the stupidest thing I have ever seen in my life. You know, Marathon, the game that looks like diarrhea. And then they said, oh, actually, Chud, that art style that literally no one likes is intentional. Yeah, yeah. They decided that Marathon no longer is going to be the hardcore PvP experience that it initially was, and the losers that played that game cope that, oh, you're just too bad to play Marathon. Yes, everyone in the world is too bad to play Marathon because it's a really bad game, dude. Like, relax, chillax. What's wrong with you? It's not that deep, honestly, buddy. But at the end of the day, even that cope is gonna get thrown out of the window because Marathon's now going in a full PvE direction, which is, honestly, I'm not gonna lie, that's probably even stupider than going with a full, oh, this is a hardcore PvP extraction shooter that only 5 people in the world are gonna enjoy. I think, honestly, that was less cope than the current PvE potential direction that it's going in, because the art's horrible. Have you seen the current last boss in the Cryo Archive, how it looks? It's a Fallen from Diablo 2, and the Blood March has more personality than that fucking boss. Like, tons more, in fact. It's a joke. Everything about Marathon is a joke. Just shut it down, Sony, please. Bungie's dead, like, come on. Can we at least stop beating the dead horse?
This is actually crazy. Marathon is getting a full-blown PvE mode, and this could be what the strong foundation is meant to be. I don't know. This is really interesting. So, you guys have seen this before.
Strong foundation for like 5 players. Great.
And I'm going to show it you again. This is the current live Steam DB of Marathon. Of course, Marathon is played on all the consoles.
One of my favorite graphs in the world. Marathon may not be the most popular game, but it has been the top searched graph consistently for the last 2 months on Steam DB. So at least it has something going for it
as well. But this is the PC version of the game. We can see there's 4,600 people playing the game at the moment. The peaks don't look particularly very good either. This is a game that's in decline, right? Look, big decline, big decline. And the question has always been, how do they bump this up? Well, it looks like a move towards a full-blown PvE experience could be that. Now, remember, they've got Vault Breaker coming in, which is a sort of a PvE roguelike experience on the Cryo Archive map, which is a fantastic map, by the way. But it seems they're already saying, no, actually, in Season 3, we're just going to give you a full-blown PvE mode. And the question is, could that be this strong foundation? Because, of course...
To be honest, though, I don't think this is going to work. Because, again, the art is just ass. You need to overhaul the art so much. Now, granted, they're doing that to a degree, but it's still very bad. There's literally 30 plus fonts in this game that make your eyes bleed. But this is from, you know, the people who made the shooting in Destiny 2. So the shooting's kind of okay. So as long as the PvE experience is actually good, there could be potentially some form of slight redemption here. Now, I'm not saying that that's happening. It's very unlikely because, I mean, if they go full PvE mode, you know the story is going to be that the they-thems are still somehow bi and gay at the end of the day. So, a PvE mode with a storyline is just going to be more woke trash.
Herman Horst here in the now infamous post about the restructuring at PlayStation. He says this specifically about Marathon, and I took the piss out of him for this because I was like, you know, is the strong foundation in the room with us? Because this is not a strong foundation. I mean, if I type into this, well, it's going to come up automatically, right? Because it's one of the search games. Destiny, if we compare this with, I want to compare it with Marathon. It's just going to be a laugh, right? This will just be. I mean, what? Like, look at the state of it. It's terrible. Like,
Oh, wow, I did not know you can do that. Ooh, very nice.
let's zoom in a bit closer. I mean, it's just, yeah, Marathon beat it slightly when it launched, but I guess the sad thing here is this graph for Destiny is always going to go down. The game has been discontinued, which is baffling because obviously Destiny has got a massive player base. It's just crazy decision. But look, this is never going to pop back up again from Destiny unless something drastically changes. And it does beg the question, what the hell is going on with Marathon? Anyway, to go back to this, right? Because this is integral to the story of how we get to this PvE mode, I think. So look at this, right? Marathon remains an important part of our portfolio and will continue to support the team as they build on the strong foundation established in Season 1 and 2. Well, there is no strong foundation, is there? Not in terms of player numbers, right? Anyway, and as they work on incubation efforts for future projects, while it's too early to discuss, we are encouraged by the creativity and opportunities that lie ahead. Okay, so that's great, right? But then that brings us to this, right? This now is, I'll just show you this. This is the Vault Breaker patch update, right? I'm not going to go over all these changes here.
God, they couldn't even make. This is what I'm talking about. The art is not gonna let this succeed. Like, look at this. They couldn't even make the goddamn fucking rectangles correct. This is no longer even a rectangle. Like why? It's so ass.
In the game, because frankly, there isn't really enough players in the game to give a shit about minute balance changes and things like that, right? I just don't think that's, balance is key, it's integral, but I don't think it really matters, right? They need to get more people into the game. They need to get people who maybe played Season 1 heavily, like myself, back into the game. And how can they do that, right? So their first step is this, right? This is the experimental PvE mode, Vault Breaker. Now, I said in my recent video, I've not been playing a lot of Season 2. I haven't, right? I mean, my playtime is literally down 90%. It's more than that. It's down like 99%, if I'm totally honest, over what it was in Season 1. That's because I didn't really feel like enough of the game had changed, right? It's still the same old game. Yeah, I really enjoy the art direction, the overall design of the game. I like the audio
Wow.
of the game as well. I think it's fantastic. I like the aesthetics of the game. I just like all of it, right? I like the shooting of the game, whatever. But there's just not enough substance there to make me keep coming back. And it is quite sweaty, right? That's not that to say I don't want a sweaty game. I obviously do. I really enjoy, PvP games. You've seen the history of my channel over the years. That's what I've been covering extensively. So yeah, I enjoy that, but I just didn't feel there was enough. This, though, makes me want to come back, and I'll just quickly go over this. So they say Vault Breakers utilizes hit-and-run tactics to master the secrets of Marathon's cryo archive. They travel light and target the archive's many vaults in search of valuable loot and deeper access throughout the deck. Vault Breaker's strategic deployments challenge the UESC's jurisdiction. Aboard the Marathon, applying constant pressure to defend the zone against runner incursions. They strike during quiet moments while rival crews are focused on Tau Ceti to keep the UESC off guard and maneuver with more focus, free of the chaos of a contested zone.
The fuck does any of this mean? Do people actually know what the lore of this is? Probably not, but I bet the lore that exists is already kind of coated by the Bungie staff as gay and whatnot. No, seriously, Bungie's gonna do it. The lore for this thing is gonna be so sad and bad.
When update 1.15 arrives on July the 21st, the Vault Breaker mode will open its doors and send runners into Cryo Archive for Marathon's first experimental PvE mode. And remember, like I've said, they are already, and we'll get onto it in a second, but they have committed now to a full-blown PvE mode. That will be effectively a standalone experience in the game. So you won't have to play PvP if you don't want to play an extraction shooter, which I think is most people, right? And also might result in more sales for the game. So, you can jump straight away whether you're running solo, as a duo, or with a full trio, and that's true regardless of your runner level. Vault Break, and this is the thing, right? If you want your game to be a live service game, it needs to have something you can do, which I'm not saying is easy, but is a time sink in a way, right? So, whether you're playing ARPGs, you're playing, I don't know, Diablo, PathX, or whatever, there's things you can do which is kind of like, you can turn your brain off and you can just churn away.
You know what actually this reminds me of? This reminds me of the same completely useless concept that Blizzard had for Overwatch PvE missions. Remember when they had that promise, we're gonna have PvE missions, guys. It's gonna be great. We're gonna have in-depth lore about the heroes that you play with. What? The heroes we play with? In-depth character story arcs? Are you fucking kidding me? Overwatch has the most generic, boring, lame-ass characters I have ever seen in my life. Listen. Let's see what we have. Oh, we have Mercy. Oh, she's a doctor. Ooh, crazy, I know, right? Then we have Lucio. He, guys, he likes music. What is this garbage? I know. Diva. Oh, Diva. She's a gamer girl who doesn't have an OF account. That's probably unironically kind of unique nowadays. But you kind of get the point. It's like Overwatch was an absolute fucking disaster area when it came to this type of stuff. Because all of the characters were just a most minor, soulless creatures ever. And now you're telling me Bungie's gonna try the same thing with Marathon? Holy shit. That sounds so stupid.
Obviously, I should be using, I guess, Destiny as an example, right? You can just churn away. It's fine, right? Do whatever. Marathon doesn't have any of that because it's all do or die PvP, sorry. This is the beginning of the PvE, which might bring that in, right? And I think that will obviously increase their engagement metrics, and it will just make, people stick to the game more. Because I'd like to go through CryoArchive and take on the compiler. I'd like to do that solo. I think I'd have a good time doing
I don't think anyone wants to do that because the compiler looks like ass.
that solo. It's not to say I'm antisocial, but I think I'd have a good time doing that because I know most players haven't experienced CryoArchive, and I've waxed lyrical about this. It is a fucking awesome map. It gives you that.
You know what I'm actually surprised about? The fact that no one has made a first-person Borderlands Marathon Overwatch-esque type of game where you can change abilities and do things like that, but it has infinite progression. You can do this, there's like different game modes, like effectively just first-person shooter roguelike. I'm surprised. There probably exists that. Borderlands is kind of amalgamation of that, but I haven't really heard of any true single-player first-person shooter or multiplayer first-person shooter that does that. That kind of sounds really fun.
Feeling, if any of you guys played MMOs back in the day, the first time you step into a raid zone and the first time you see some like proper end game content, and you have to be on your A game to even be there. That's what it felt like. And it had been years since I had that experience. I had this experience through games like EverQuest 2, World of Warcraft, whatever. It was insane. I was like, oh my God, this is great. But obviously more people need to experience that. And I think this is a good step in that direction. So Vaultbreaker offers a roguelite PvE experience inside CryoArchive, where I think I called it a roguelike. I always get them confused. It's a roguelite. That was earlier on in the video, but whatever. So Vaultbreaker offers a roguelite PvE experience inside CryoArchive where you take on progressively tougher vaults across multiple runs. You'll acquire vault data to upgrade your special sponsored kit, more details below, or spend that progress on gear in the new Vaultbreaker Armory that features weapons, items, and more that you can bring back to your other adventures across Tau Ceti. Note, all items and gear found in Run are restricted from exfil, except event currency and rewards will only be available during event period, so best prioritize room for vault data and of course items essential for you to make to exfil. Of course, this is zoom on, focus on the camera. This is because this is in theory it's an on PvP mode, right? So it's an easier mode. So if you can go in here and just find amazing weapons and you're running out with tons of gold weapons, then you just go into PvP and wreck people with them. That's crap, and it shouldn't happen. It destroy the economy of the extraction portion of the game. Anyway, Vaultbreaker is our first experimental. I don't know why this keeps highlighting the whole page. Look at it. Well, I guess I'm going off the edge or whatever. Vaultbreaker is our very first experimental PvE mode, and we're excited for you all to jump in and check it out. And we can't wait to gather up all of your feedback and data as we continue to work towards our full PvE mode arriving in Season 3, right? So it's like, yeah, we'll just drop a bombshell at the end of this and go, oh, by the way, there's a full PvE mode coming in season 3. And I read this and I was like, I mean, I was reading this thinking, yeah, Vault Breaker, I want to see some of the details. Am I like mega hyped for it? No, but it's going to make.
Goodness of it going free to play, because let's be real, like Marathon has no chance of being a pay to play game, and well, it has very little chance even to being as a free to play game.
Me load the game back up, you know, which is something I was just not going to do until something changed, you know.
I think that they could potentially try and do all of these crazy changes, like going PvE. When that fails, they're gonna go PvP. And when they finally find something that kind of works, they're gonna go free to play. I think that's how this is gonna be.
And I think PvE is quite attractive, especially for this game. And then they just go, oh yeah, by the way, there's just going to be a full-blown mode. Now, there's a lot going on here, I think, that we need to kind of unpack, because you don't just, like, this must have been in development for a long time. And this takes me back to the comments here, right? Or if it's not been in development for a long time, it's been in heavy development over the last 6 months or so, specifically since the launch of the game, where it was clear the player base was not sticking to this game. They were finding it difficult. The new player experience was difficult. You know, famously, I mean, I think I even said this, it takes like 10 hours to even get into Marathon. But after that, it's like, okay, this is, I really click with this. But then you just seemingly burn out of the
Anything that takes 10 hours to get into is just cope. This is the same Starfield bullshit as, oh, the game actually is really good when you spend 40 hours in New Game Plus 3. That's just garbage. Anyone that tells you that you need to spend like 10 hours into like a shooter or something as simplistic as Starfield, and then it's really good, and that's just cope. There are some games where you actually are expected to spend like 5-10 hours learning it, and then it becomes good. You know what I'm currently playing, by the way? I'm currently playing this the Scroll of Taivu. Okay, and that shit takes a while to get into, okay? 10 hours in, I still don't understand basics, and I have to wiki how damage is calculated. But you know, that's something that actually has the complexity where you need hours in it to, you know, start understanding what you're doing and getting the good experience. Marathon does not. It's just a fucking extraction shooter, dude.
content pretty quick, which obviously I think has happened en masse. But as I say, look, strong foundation. This could have been comments relating from, look at all the assets we've made. Look at all of our historical game development, well, the people that we haven't fired, but all of the historical game developer experience we've got in terms of PvE experiences, right? Can we...
Yeah, look at all the people who rewrote Destiny's lore to be woke slop. Wow. Yeah, I'm glad they got fired.
adapt this for Marathon? Now, this is the thing, I think, where we get the sort of cross with Destiny 2. A lot of people want Destiny 2 to be supported. A lot of people want Destiny 3. I completely understand that, and it should be the...
We're gonna get Destiny 3 in 10 years. Don't worry about it. It's just 10 years. It's, you know, it's just more than probably 10% of your life. Don't worry about it. It's gonna be great. Oh yeah, Marathon's screwed. There's absolutely nothing. I'm sure this update, the PvE update, is gonna have the same effect as every other Marathon update ever, aka 5+ K players, and then it shrinks in 2 weeks to extinction levels. Anyway, that was Stylos, 10 out of 10. Nothing can save Marathon. Bye.